This is the statue of Chief Mbazulike Amechi, Dara Akuwafo, one of Ukpor, one of the greatest Igbo man ever lived. This man is one of the legend Ndibodi. This man is the first aviation minister in Nigeria.
It's on record that throughout his public life, he was never accused of, tried or convicted, or talked about or mentioned in anything about corruption. For that, I'm very proud. Not because he was a minister, but because he served this country and came out with his integrity in time. So my dad going into politics or going into public life or activism, I don't know how to describe it, but I'll just say that it was just him being him. He was just being his crazy self as a teenager, as a young man. I would say, or I guess, that his involvement in politics came from him liking some pretty lady somewhere. When it was time for the great Nelson Mandela to be in Nigeria and had to stay here because of the situation in South Africa at the time, it was natural for my dad to house him because they were kindred spirits. And if not for the freedom fighting and the wars that Mandela had to face and the oppression in South Africa, I would say that Mandela would have felt very good retiring in Nigeria and chilling in Ukpor because they visited Ukpor quite a bit, Mandela and himself. First, let me correct one impression. Ukpor is not a village. Ukpor is a town, a big town. We have about 68 villages in Ukpor. 68 villages that make Ukpor. So Ukpor is not a village. It's a major town. And my dad did not start development in Ukpor. Ukpor has been a town that Ukpor has been self-driven since time immemorial. But my dad does not stay any 2 weeks without visiting Ukpor. Or he did not. I keep using the present tense because he feels ever around with me.
And let's not also forget, Chief Mbazulike Amechi is the only elder who took the Igbo elder statement to Aso Rock for the demand of Nnamdi Kanu. He was the first person that did it. The only man who gathered the Igbo statement, the prominent, the elite, and they went to Aso Rock Abuja and said, told Buhari, release Nnamdi Kanu.
My dad tarred roads in Ukpor. The other people, not just him, we have the Iyebu and Esotu. They did about a 4-kilometer road between Okija and Ukpor, talking about early 80s. You have PNMera, who was a PG, who sat on this seat. He also supervised the construction of roads in Ukpor. In Ukpor today, I can't even begin to mention, the target is that every person is tarring roads in his area of influence, developing his community. We have people donating transformers, we have people tarring roads, we have people building hospitals, we have people building schools.
I was at Kuko, Akwamiano, on a Yerende Madia, and Doro no Kanko, on a Tepuzo. Somebody single-handedly, after I go more than 10 kilometers of roads, then I work for Sa Abu Chuku Mother Abu Chuku Mwachuku Koropo, Utegopozo, Warren de Maduno, Mande non a scholarship scheme, a whole lot of them.
Akanko.
Then Wokwa Zenco. It was Zenco, so Terekanku, Don Yeraka Kanku, Victor Wokage, Yerende Marakane Tuzo.
Hello guys, this is Creatulor TV. We are live and direct here in Ukpor. So this is just a boundary between Nnewi and Ukpor. When you look around here, you will see river dividing Nnewi and Ukpor. So Ukpor is in Nnewi South local government of Anambra State. And Ukpor is a great town. Ukpor is one of the fastest developing communities in Igbo land. When you talk about development, you talk about Ukpor. Ukpor is Nukobodo. When you talk about Zenco, Zenco is from Ukpor. When you talk about Chief Mbazulike Amechi, what was the first aviation minister in Nigeria, is from Ukpor. A lot of other prominent people who are from Ukpor. And a lot of them, they are from Ukpor here. And one thing about Ukpor is that there's a lot of competition, heavy competition in Ukpor in terms of development, road construction, empowerment, developing self-development. There's no government hand in Ukpor, but Ukpor is developed. There is a bank in Ukpor. There is every road is tied on Ukpor. Everything is in Ukpor. Ukpor is not my village, but a township. So let's go and explore. Let's go and talk, and let's go and meet Honorable. That is the son of Mbazulike Amechi, who is the current PG of Ukpor. So that he will tell us more about Ukpor and about his father, who is a legend, who is a prominent man in Igbo land, in Nigeria as a whole. So let's go, man. Guys, this is Ukpor Central School. So, and when you look here, you will see Ukpor Town Hall. So, this town hall is where they have their meetings and all that. Everything concerning Ukpor. This is where they gather and do it. And when you look here, you will see a sculpture here. So this statue here is a statue of one of the legends of Ukpor. This man is a great man, a pioneer of Ukpor, any development in Ukpor. When you look, his name is Chief Sir John Ukachukwu Ume Nnanyelugo one. He is popularly known as Long John. The Watago pioneer Ukpor Improvement Union, President General 1946 to 1970. This town hall is his legacy. So when you look at it, this town hall is his legacy. He was the President General since 1946 to 1970. That shows that he's he made a lot of contribution for the development of this town. And these people are happy, and these people are like they respect him, they regard him. That's why they put the sculpture here.
My name is Mbazulike Amechi, and I'm the last son of Darak Nwafo Mbazulike Amechi, deceased. I grew up in his household, learned a lot from him, saw him be who he was in his lifetime. And I can tell you, was a good man, an activist, and a development-oriented person who is a very passionate Igbo man, and who was a very passionate Igbo man and a very passionate Nigerian. But before all that, he was an Ukpor man. I don't feel anything special. He was an aviation minister, and he worked hard to become an aviation minister. And I don't call it a reward that he became a minister. I see it as a recognition of his sacrifice in fighting for the independence of this country, of self-rule for the Nigerian. And he was qualified. He worked very hard, and he became a minister. And as minister, he did a great job as minister, instrumental to setting up and purchasing great aircraft for this country. He was on a good track until the truncation of the First Republic by the military. And it's on record that throughout his public life, he was never accused of, tried or convicted, or talked about or mentioned in anything about corruption. For that, I'm very proud. Not because he was a minister, but because he served this country and came out with his integrity intact. On the contrary, he didn't come from such a comfortable background. He didn't have a rich father. As a matter of fact, his father, my grandfather, died when my dad was 4 years old. So my dad grew up, or his education was financed by his elder brother, Ben Amechi, and two of them remained close for life. So my dad going into politics or going into public life or activism, um, I don't know how to describe it, but I'll just say that it was just him being him. He was just being his crazy self as a teenager, as a young man. And from what he told me, I wasn't there obviously. I was actually following a pretty lady who he was admiring. I went and queued up so that he have an opportunity to talk to the lady. And it turns out that they were interviewing for jobs, and he sat for the interview with them, and he got the job. And from there, he got into unionism, and from unionism into politics and the rest. So I would say, or I guess, that his involvement in politics came from him liking some pretty lady somewhere. Well, first, let me correct one impression. Ukpor is not a village. Ukpor is a town, a big town. We have about 68 villages in Ukpor. 68 villages that make Ukpor. So Ukpor is not a village. It's a major town. Ukpor has boundaries with 10 different communities and 3 different local governments. So we're not small. And my dad did not start development in Ukpor. Ukpor has been a town that Ukpor has been self-driven since time immemorial. We fought our wars, Ukpor historically from contribution of very great men, very great families. We built our roads from the beginning of history, from contribution from Ukpor. So we had great leaders, very great leaders before my dad. We had the MDOK we had great warriors, MDOK several people, the Malizers and all that, that were instrumental to Ukpor being what Ukpor is today. So my dad did not start it. It was his only opportunity to have come under the tutelage of these great people, and he contributed his quota in making Ukpor great. And of course, I give one thing to him. He loved his culture, he loved Ukpor. So culturally, he played a huge role in placing Ukpor in the cultural calendar of Anambra State, of Igbo land, of the world. So for that, I give him kudos because he loved his culture, he loved his town. But he was not the pioneer. He only built on what the people before him started. I wasn't born when the Mandela thing happened, but one thing I know is that my dad hated injustice. He will fight. He does not shy away from any fight. He was a feisty man, an activist, and when it was time for the great Nelson Mandela to be in Nigeria and had to stay here because of the situation in South Africa at the time, it was natural for my dad to house him because they were kindred spirits. And if not for the freedom fighting and the wars that Mandela had to face and the oppression in South Africa, I would say that Mandela would have felt very good retiring in Nigeria and chilling in Ukpor because they visited Ukpor quite a bit, Mandela and himself. I heard that and I got that from history. But he did what he did, housing Mandela and all that, as a support for the struggle in South Africa that the black man would be free. And that he believed in. But my dad does not stay any 2 weeks without visiting Ukpor. Or he did not. I keep using the present tense because he feels ever around with me. So there's no way you can know my dad and you've not been to his village or his town. So Mandela being his guest, no surprise that they had to come to Ukpor. Even when Mandela was released from prison, Mandela came to Nigeria, he came to Enugu. I think Akonobi was governor at the time. He still requested to see my dad and they met. And they had a good time, they reminisced on old times. Mandela was asking about different people. Funny enough, you remember those names, was asking about Ukpor, talking about his time in Ukpor and all that. So you see that that made an impression on the Mandela himself. And actually, when Mandela passed, my dad had to make the trip to South Africa to attend his funeral. He attended his wake, paid his last respect to the great man. It's all about love. Let's start today. My dad tarred roads in Ukpor. The other people, not just him. We have the Iyebu and Esotu. They did about a 4-kilometer road between Okija and Ukpor, talking about early 80s. You have PN Emera, who was a PG, who sat on this seat. He also supervised the construction of roads in Ukpor. So this thing about Ukpor being um, uh, development driven started from a long time ago. Even in the 1940s, people like John Okachukwu of blessed memory, outside the town hall here, you see his bust there. Yeah, of course, I mentioned MD Okechukwu before. There are several great men, O.C. Sam Okeke, Chief Joby. Now, Joby had a thriving scholarship in this town. So you see that Ukpor has been about developing Ukpor internally. We never depended on government to do anything for us. So when the present crop of young men came up, they're only acting from what they saw their fathers do. So the development is that they learned that we are a community. We don't hate in Ukpor. If you're a rich man, your neighbors will not hate you. They will love you. Your brothers come together. You never see two rich men from Ukpor fighting each other or competing who is richer. Rather, our rich brothers come together, work together, and see how their wealth can further develop Ukpor. So in Ukpor today, I can't even begin to mention the target is that every person is tarring roads in his area of influence, developing his community. We have people donating transformers, we have people tarring roads, we have people building hospitals, we have people building schools. These are all happening at about the same time in Ukpor. We have the road that Zenco is doing. We have the road that the young man I just visited now, Karis, is doing. We have the roads that Victor Wokeji and Gebati Igweka did. We have the road that Chukwuka Okonkwo, we call him Akwamia, 4-kilometer road that is doing that cuts across Ukpor and Epusigo local government is doing. We have the road that Abuchinwosu did in his village. So we have so many development projects coming. Even our daughters in abroad, we have Oluchukwu Okeke in the US, and she has come back here to set up an agricultural concern, set up a supermarket, water factory, creating employment in this town. So we have our big industrialists bringing branches of their businesses into this town to create employment, boost the GDP of Ukpor, and make us a destination. We're a big tourist attraction. We are known for Hmong. Yes, so every Christmas is a Hmong everywhere. So we have in Mpoto, this young man, we call him Eza Nawadara Chukwu. He hosts the people. Hmong Festival, if you come, there's big tourist attraction. And I tell you, many people find their wives and husbands attending these cultural events. So we look forward to Ukpor. Our New Year Festival is a destination. We have Ukpor Day. We have awards dinner. Things that we do to make Ukpor a vibrant community. And these are the young men propelling it, propelling these activities, making the younger ones even love Ukpor the more. So there's no dull moment in Ukpor, and there's no better time to be an Ukpor man or woman. Tenure or no tenure, our constitution says 1 term of 4 years, and that's it. And I can tell you, being a PG, 4 years is a lot of time. If you ask me, I will reduce it to 2 years, single term. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice you must enjoy giving. And as my vision for Ukpor, my vision is for a more cohesive town where there's absolute love, zero crime, and healthy competition that drives development. All our boys and girls, I need them to be together, to be friendly, to compete in development, not to compete in bringing down one another. Nobody from Ukpor speaks bad of the other. We'd rather do everything to promote an Ukpor person. We defend the Ukpor, we help the Ukpor. So by the time I'm leaving this town, the leadership, I want to see more development, more presence of the government, more presence of amenities, and essentially want to see a more developed Ukpor, but retaining that village feel. We don't want to lose the feel that we are in our village. We don't suddenly want to be a cosmopolitan town. We don't want to be a Victoria Island. We want to be a place where the roads are good, there's water, there's light, but to retain the cultural cohesion and the traditional life that make us a village. That's where we want to be. We love being our village, and we're not going to lose that. The folks in diaspora, I'll just say, you're the ones missing. We're having fun here. We're working hard. Ukpor is safe. Ukpor has not witnessed any violent crime in the last 3 years. Ukpor is very safe. We spend a lot on security, keeping our borders secure. We have our police working. We have everything. The whole security architecture is in place. So it was a very safe place, and we have fun, and we have development. So why we're doing this is to open the place up for business. We want to be the business destination. So if you have money to invest, your investment is safe, and you get your returns. Labor is cheaper in Ukpor than you have it elsewhere that you want to site your industries. The land is cheaper in Ukpor, so you can get your land. There are good roads that you can use to transport your goods, your finished product, and all that. So everything you need, you have in Ukpor. So you have no reason not to do it here. And we invite you to bring your children. Come home. Periodically, we have the New Year Festival. Christmas is a big party. This December, we're having our first awards dinner. It's going to be a crazy night, a big party with A-list artists and everybody coming to our live to entertain our people. And in the midst of that entertainment, we're going to raise money because we're going to renovate all the public secondary schools in Ukpor and put them to international standard. We're going to have fun. We're going to raise money. And by this time next year, you come back and you see better schools, improved education, all because we work together as one town. So when your children come back, they'll be asking you, why have you not been taking us to overseas? We want a situation where the kids in diaspora will pay their way and come back to Ukpor even without their parents. And they will come back, they will have fun, they'll be secure, and they will make their own connection with their roots. That's the plan, and we're going to achieve that.
This is the statue of Chief Mbazulike Amechi, Dara Akuwafo, one of Ukpor, one of the greatest Igbo man ever lived. This man is one of the legend Ndibodi Debube. This man is the first aviation minister in Nigeria, the first man to ever be aviation minister in Nigeria. So this man we are looking at like this is the only man that have hosted Nelson Mandela when Mandela was fighting for the freedom of his people. He came to Nigeria, he hosted him, and even brought him here in Ukpor. So the only man who came to Ukpor and relaxed, he retired in his hometown. If not minding he was a prominent person, he retired in his hometown and spent more than 40 years in his village, enjoying his village. This man is a kind of man that we can never get in Igbo land again. To get this kind of man will be very difficult in Igbo land currently. Let's not also forget Chief Mbazulike Amechi is the only elder who took the Igbo elder statement to Aso Rock for the demand of Nnamdi Kanu. He was the first person that did it. The only man who gathered the Igbo statement, the prominent, the elite, and they went to Aso Rock Abuja and said, told Buhari, release Nnamdi Kanu. Don't forget, this man is a man that we must continue to talk about in Igbo land. We can never allow his name to go in vain because he has done a lot for the Igbo culture, for the development of Igbo, for the development of his village. He's a great man, and when he talked about Nigerian independence, he was a pioneer. He contributed a lot in the development and the liberation, that is the independence of Nigeria. So Chief Mbazulike Amechi is a big name.
Apams Honorable Ambassador Chijoke. How money Ukpor?
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ukpor where the development Ukpor Mazrama na nke Gbaza.
Ukpor ilekwa anya ndị Igbo si ya gbanaka na eji enene. Na ikpeazụ Ukpor bụ a city set on a hill that can never be hidden. Ukpor ma mma, so many good things na-eme n'Ukpor.
Yeah. Okay. So kedu ndị na-eme n'Ukpor na-aga n'iru? Ịma na ịbata n'Ukpor kịta na ụzọ niile dị clean. Ife niile na-aga ọfụma. Ukpor nwere zuru everything. Ana nwere ndị na-eme ya ma empowerment ma old man new, o nwere ndị na-emegasị ya.
Yeah, nke bụ eziokwu bụ na one thing you must know about Ukpor bụ na ndị Ukpor bụ peace loving people. And be anyị ma mma. Anyị na-anabatakwu ndị mba, na-anabatakwu ndị ọbụla nwere ike ịbịa bụ n'obi idozi obodo. Then ime n'obodo na-aga n'iru, anyị nwere a whole lot of people. Anyị nwere philanthropists enough, ha ka nkụ n'Ukpor be anyị. Onye ka mma akpọ ghara ibe. Anyị nwere Achukwu Okonkwo, Akwami n'Ukpor. Ọ na-enyere ndị mmadụ aka, ndị ọrụ ụlọ ka nkụ. Ọ na-etekwa ụzọ. Somebody single-handedly go more than 10 kilometers of road. Then anyị nwekwara mmadụ abụchukwu nwosu nkwachukwu kwere Ukpor otegokwa ụzọ wụọrọ ndị mmadụ ụlọ ma ndị nọ na scholarship scheme a whole lot of them aka nkụ. Then nwekwa Zenco ụzọ o tere ka nkụ, ndị na-enyere aka ka nkụ. Victor Wokeji na-enyere ndị mmadụ aka na-ete ụzọ. Emeka Arinze, Charismatos, a whole lot of them Akoma Jidab, ha ka nkụ. Ọ bụ na mkpọsịba afa ha Chigeji Chigabo, so I nwere too many of them.
Wow.
Yeah. Na nke ikpeazụ ịkpata ego, ihe eji egosizi na ịkpatara ego n'Ukpor bụ ịrụ ụzọ. And not just ịrụ ụzọ, no, how many kilometers ka ị ga-arụ from 10 up. Ọ ihe eji ama aka n'Ukpor. A na-eme 2 kilometers. A na-eme 2 kilometers. Ọ hụrụcha gọọmenti abịa mepee. Ọrụ dịrị gọọmenti ka ndị Ukpor take the up upon themselves wezi aka ha na-arụ.
Ha na-echezi gọọmenti.
Mbali. Ị ga-aga ịchọ akpọgharịa gị ịfụnanya. Yes.
Ọ dị ka m bụrụ onye Ukpor.
Anyị na-agbanyekwa fọm.
So how to see form?
I was supposed to.
Ukpor. Right, honestly, Ukpor Maka. Ukpor was the #1, the champion and Ukpor. When it comes to Nnewi South, you must count Ukpor. You want to go? Kedu thing agwa ndị bụ emebe so that ha bịa mewe?
Ịma na one thing chọrọ ime ka ịghọta, let it be on record. Ukpor ọ bụrụ na nkịta ka Ukpor bido mebe ihe. Ịgbada na ị ga-afụ ebe akpọ the first aviation minister of this country, Nigeria. Ọ wụ onye Ukpor. Madam due process. Obi eze kwesịrị wụ onye Ukpor. A whole lot of people enwebe ownership wee pụta. So anọrọgo na ihe a na-eme from day one wee na-agbago. Anyị wee na-ayọzikwu ka ha bụ ndị Ukpor ihe emebekwa ihe ka ha mụrụkwa. Because ejizi ama aka n'Ukpor na-abụ ihe ọma. Kedu iro itego na mmadụ ole ka ịkwụwago na human capital development onye abụ nke kacha mkpa. And ndị Ukpor mụtaziri nke ahụ ya ọ bụrụ onye akazi mma. Onye ka inyere aka, onye ka ịrụrụ ụlọ, ụzọ na onye ka itere. And ihe iji wee mee gịnị wee kelee Chineke na ndị be anyị bịa si mee gịnị na-emetụ ụmụnne ha aka ebe ọ kachasị mkpa.
Yeah. Very important. Only to be there, just there. Obere azụ
kpata obere nkụ ozi m n'anya ka anyị fụ onye na-eme n'Ukpor.
Ọ bụrụ ọrụ anyị nwere gị nwee ozi mmerụ ada agụnye nke
ahụ akụrụ ụlọ ịbịa n'Ukpor now, like today bụ what's today's date?
Today is 29th
of November.
Yeah.
By this time next month, December, ịbịa n'Ukpor a na-eme Ukpor Day. Ukpor Day, all the sons of Ukpor, ma those in diaspora ma ndị n'ụlọ a na-eme Ukpor Day. Ịbịa ebe ọ na-abụ a total shutdown. Then on 28th, before 29th, ọ bụ Ukpor Merit Awards.
Okay.
Ndị Ukpor na-ewepụta a day set aside eji eme gịnị eji honor their illustrious sons and daughters ndị mere ihe afụrụ anya.
Yes.
Ịghọtago? So ọ bụrụ Ukpor bụ a city on a hill. We cannot be hidden again.
Possible.
Yes.